I'm Henry, professional horn player, and I'm just going to do a quick warm-up today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. The first thing I'm going to start with today, to make sure that the contact of my lips is really close together, is this exercise where I go from like a hoarse whinny to a free buzz. I'm not a huge proponent of doing actual free buzzing to practice, but in order to get the contact of the lips being as close together as possible, but also as relaxed as possible, I'm going to do it. So it's essentially go slowly using the right amount of tension in order to get a ideal buzz for a French horn. I'm going to have my tongue be forward and arched as I do this. The first thing that I do is I get the corners engaged more. Then I feel my support down in my abs. And then lastly, it starts coming together. So all right, it's working well, and now I'm going to carry on with the stamp exercise. That's my favorite first note of the day. And one thing I want to be doing today is to make sure that I'm using the same airspeed from the very beginning of a note to the very end of it, so that my pitch isn't wobbling up and down, that once I hit a note, it stays really stable. So yeah, it's sort of the idea that like when you play a lot of low horn or like second horn, you always go with whatever the first horn is doing or whatever someone else is doing in the group. But when you play by yourself, especially for auditions, you need to have this sort of solidity in your sound that is going to tell people who listen to you that this is how this piece goes, this is where the pitch is, it's where I say it is. It's right where you hit the note and you don't move at all. Some of that, what really helps that is having your support be super solid. So engaging your abs a lot. Nice. Only two more of this exercise. I don't like to take it too high because these are my first notes of the day, and I don't like to play very high for my first notes of the day. Okay. So that time I undershot it. So I'll need to start with the air speed a bit faster when the start of the note comes. Hey, lad. Welcome back. How long are my warm-ups? Probably like 30 minutes to an hour. 30 minutes to an hour long. I mean, you can do them faster, especially when you're doing when I do like the same shows over and over. When I'm playing Nutcracker, or last month I did Lord of the Rings. You just and all you play is the same show over and over for a whole week. It requires less warm up by the end of the week, but that's only if your focus is just getting through that week. Usually my warm-ups touch on all the stuff in my playing that I'm not doing in the show for the week, so that it doesn't deteriorate, so I still have access to it when, let's say, Mahler 5 comes up. I'm still able to do like lip trills or like railing up to high B's. So yeah, that's why they're probably on the longer side. My favorite warm-up is probably about like 40 minutes, and then I'll have like a break, eat a meal, go for a walk, go for a workout, and then come back to the instrument later. I don't like to do much more than, if I'm about to like warm up and then go into a rehearsal, and I'm warming up literally right before rehearsal, I'll only do like 30 minutes or 20 minutes. One thing that's really useful to have is a different length warm up for different situations. So I do have like a full hour long warm up that I'll do, and then I also have like a 5-minute version, a 15-minute version, and a 30-minute version. And my goal is to be able to play well after each version. Okay, I got through. Oh wait, I'm just doing the highest one of the stamp exercises. Lud, how long have you been playing horn for? The thing I did at the very start of my warm-up, which is this, I don't even know what to call it. Horse buzz? I don't know. Scales mostly done, except for low register. What's good? Okay. Scales are good. I like doing lip trills after I've done the stamp exercises, my scales. So I'll do some lip trills. Bassoon? Oh, cool, nice. I don't know. Yeah, I gotcha. I think I know it as a sousaphone. Do I transpose much when I play an orchestra? Constantly. Yeah, especially for opera. Verdi opera is like probably Verdi and Wagner operas are the most demanding in terms of transposition, but I would say more than 50% of the time there's a piece on a program that I play that I have to transpose for. Although I'm fourth horn, so a lot of early rep like Beethoven, um, I don't have to play. So only Beethoven 9 has four horns on it. Yeah. So I mean, it's a useful skill to do, but I did want to quit French horn when my teacher first made me. She made me learn the Mozart horn concerto number 4 in horn and E flat. So I had to do transposition, and I tried quitting. I told her I was quitting. It was like too hard, and then she was like, "You don't have to do it." But then I went back, and she still made me do it. But I didn't end up quitting. I did not end up quitting. And now I'm grateful that I can transpose well. I also had a teacher who so I'm super understanding with my students when I always offer them. I'm like, "You want to play this in F or in learn how to transpose?" And it is a super useful skill. So I just say that it's going to make your brain hurt for a bit, but it's a worthy challenge. And so I leave it up to my students. But most of them have chosen to transpose basically at every turn. So I'm impressed. They have more fortitude, grit than I do. So French horn players have to transpose. I mean, is there an easy way to describe transposition? So you basically look at a C, and say, and transpose it down, transpose everything down a whole step, or like up a line. I don't know. It's like playing in a different clef. It'd be like you if you're a tuba player playing in treble clef and trying to read stuff like that. Yeah, you can transpose into different octaves too. So when I was an undergrad, I would have to learn a piece that had a key signature. Let's say it was in the key of E major, 3 sharps. I'd have to learn it horn in F, so in the just as written, horn in E, horn in E flat, horn in B flat basso, and then horn in F basso, so down the octaves. And basically, I would get through half the etude, or a couple lines of the etude, and then my teacher would make me switch transpositions again. Man, it was brutal. Probably the hardest one is like B flat basso. How long does it take to learn one transposition good? Depends on the transposition. Depends on the key signature. I don't know. I mean, it takes me now no time at all. But I rarely have to practice transposition. Only if it's horn in B which is like down a or horn in H, which is horn in B, down a tritone. That one I have to actually practice and double check. The rest I can sight read if needed. But the most challenging things about playing transposed parts now it's never learning the transpositions now. Now that I've been doing it for years. Yeah, wait, Led, how long have you been playing horn for? I forgot. I think I've asked you this before. Sorry if I have. Nice, 4 years. Cool. Have you played any Strauss yet? Nice, you're auditioning for Youth Philharmonic in 1 month. Good luck. What are the audition excerpts? Do you get to choose, or is it like a solo piece and some excerpts? I just had a student audition for two of my students audition for youth orchestra for the first time. One of them, the audition music was like Dvorak 9. It's hard. That's hard music. And then the other one was Tchaikovsky 2, Symphony Number 2, which I've literally never played. Okay, Mozart 4, the first movement or the third movement? I mean, I'm guessing they could also, it's the second movement of Mozart 4, but it's just like less common. The first movement, that exposition it's tricky. Yeah, it goes up to high B flat twice or just once. Yeah, just once. No, twice. Sorry. But yeah, it's tricky. It's hard to play that light. I feel like I never could play Mozart light in the way that I wanted to for like a number of years. Lud, would it be helpful if I showed you what I do to warm up for whenever I have to play Mozart 4? Okay, so the first super hard mode, wait. I have to do one final exercise before I do my Mozart warm-up. But the advice that I was given for warming up Mozart is that it's usually the first piece on any audition list you ever play. So at the end of all of my warm-ups, I always do something that's going to set me up well to play Mozart later. So usually that involves a lot of slurred scales in the key of B, horn pitch B flat. So I have to warm up my high range next so that I'll be able to play high enough for Mozart 4. So this is the last like spaghetti machine exercise I'll do to get up into the high register. I'm going to start on A flat, and then I'll go all the way up a fifth. Just going to do the highest 4 one more time. And then last one up to high C. So what's the highest note you consistently get to? Like every day you're like, I can hit that note. Because my suggestion is whenever I'm playing a piece with a really high note, so let's say Mozart 4, it has a high B flat as the highest note in it. And what I want to do is make sure that the first high B flat I play for the day is not the high B flat in the piece. I want to be playing it in my warm up, high B flats, and actually like higher if I can, so that when I get to it in the piece, it's not the first time I've played it for the day, and I know that I can play even higher. So now I've warmed up to high C. I feel pretty confident that when I get to the high B flat in Mozart 4, that I should be able to hit it. So my favorite ways of practicing Mozart 4, I have 3 right now. The first one is flutter-tongued. And then the second one is breath attacked. So that was done with no tongue articulation. It was strictly with breath attacks. And then thirdly, I do this thing, which is like the X-ray of the each passage. So I feel like for me, one of the hardest parts about horn playing is setting up my face for the range of the phrase I'm about to play. So in the first phrase of Mozart 4, the lowest note and the highest note, the lowest note of the first phrase is a G, and the highest note is an F. And so in order to have my face ideally set up for that range and know what it's going to be like to follow the contour of the line, you can either practice it in 2 ways. One is you can do harmonic exercises, but 2 is you can follow it chromatically. And I like playing it chromatically. So it's going to require like a bit of time to like practice this out, but imagine between every single interval, you play every single chromatic note. So it'll sound like this. And then that way your face can feel what it's like to play everything in between. You can't do the rolling R, then don't worry about it. Don't do flutter tonguing. What you can do is another exercise where you play and then literally like, you can't see this, but I'm lifting up my legs. All right, if you sit down, you're gonna have to do this sitting down, unfortunately, unless you know how to levitate. Okay, so sit down on a chair and stick your legs straight out and then play. And then that will simulate the effect of flutter tonguing on your abs, which is basically engagement of your abs. It'll feel really supported. So if you want to try the opening phrase with your legs, you've seen that one before. I have literally never seen anyone do that. That's interesting. You've seen that. Where did you see it? Maybe I have read it in like a book before. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, so Mozart 4. Okay, now we get to play it normally. Now we've done these versions with we've done all these exercises that are harder than playing the piece itself. So we can go to playing the actual opening phrase. Okay. And then I kind of want to, my favorite way of practicing this, because I haven't practiced it in months, is I'll apply the same structure of flutter tonguing, breath attacking, and chromatic, like X-raying. So the next phrase, I could combine two. No, I could combine them all in one. No, that's way too much. Okay, so I'll do the first flutter tonguing. stuttered, which don't worry about it. Try it with your legs up for that one version. And then secondly, you want to do these breath attacks. Cool. And then thirdly, I'm going to do this chromatically. Cool. And then you put it all together. For my Mozart, I think to get it to like the next level, I want my slurred passages to sound even smoother. And the thing about Mozart is like, it's sort of like the idea of whenever you play this for auditions, and this is true like for the youth orchestra level or even at a professional audition level, it's like asking an artist to paint a bowl of fruit. Like if you asked Leonardo da Vinci to paint a bowl of fruit, he would do it completely different than Picasso. Picasso might just draw a few squares. I bet he has drawn a bowl of fruit as just like a few cubes. And everyone does it in their own way, and there's a way to do it that shows respect to the style of the composer, but also has your own personal flair in it. Because there's not just one right way to play it. So that's what I like so much about Mozart. And I kind of want to add like this level of like smooth playing and make that much better in my own playing. I think I got inspired listening to Gus Sebring's video on YouTube where he talks about the Tanglewood audition repertoire. He plays the exposition of Mozart 4 and he talks about it. And I just noticed in like all of his slurred scale passages, it just sounds so even and like so extra smooth that it's really inspiring. So how would I play this being more smooth? So it's like not having any individual swells inside of a note. So having the staccatos be even more pingy and separated so that it sounds totally different than the ba da 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 ba da 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 bum bum be yum. How do I normally play it? Okay, I see a question. Reno asked about having a mustache and playing a brass instrument. I can tell you as someone who has like a small beard that when it gets too long, my horn playing gets worse and this gets kind of irritated. I know of players who, I mean, I don't think you have to shave it all off. I mean, but some people do pick facial hairstyles that are compatible with their own instrument. Like I know people who just shave this much off of their facial hair just to leave some room for the mouthpiece. But for me, it's mostly fine at this length. Yeah, it might be okay. You might have to just like shave a tiny bit off of here. French horn would probably be easier than mustaches, but I do know bearded tuba players, so yeah, they'd know better. They know better, but I don't really have any issues with my length of facial hair. But I've never had a full beard, like a beard, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now I get to the hardest lick in the whole exposition of Mozart 4, which is the first high B flat. And I'm going to practice it 3 ways. Again, fluttered, breath attacked, and then chromatic. Let's give the breath attack one is going to require more air, so I'm going to take a completely full breath. And the chromatic version. That one, though, has given me so much trouble over the years. So, yeah, I mean, if you're having any trouble with it, I feel ya. I think the breath attack one is honestly one of the hardest ways to practice that high, but is so healthy because it requires just so much more support to play in that way rather than just like pressing and trying to slur it out. Also, I don't really agree with playing Mozart super staccato. I like to play it more on the like light and pingy side, but I don't like playing it really short. I like playing the phrases sort of connecting into each other, where you're more focused on starting the next note than you are on ending the note you're currently playing on. So I have a tendency to play wildly out of tune when I don't check my playing with a tuner. So, oh, you have some excerpts? What excerpts? So I'm going to double check how I'm playing that opening. So it looks like my first note, the G, and the F at the top of the staff, I'm writing high on, which kind of explains some stuff. So the quality of your articulation will improve vastly if you're playing really in tune, because you're more likely to be playing in the center of the note if you're playing in tune on most every note. And then my Ds are also writing high, so I'm going to need to lower those as well. So when I practice through playing these solo pieces and excerpts, Henry Bond, the French horn player, I'm just like a combination of processes and habits. And I have a habit of playing notes wherever. If it's sharp or flat, I almost always play that note sharp or flat. If I play a G, it's almost always going to be sharp if it's out of tune. If I play an F at the top of the staff, it's almost always going to be sharp if it's out of tune. So these tendencies I like to become really aware of and write in up and down arrows to know that, like, oh, okay, I tend to play the first note of this phrase high, so I'm going to write a down arrow so I can aim a bit lower than my natural instinct is too. And that helps me play a lot more in tune. Honestly, you wouldn't believe like the chicken scratch on how much I mark up the pieces that I play for auditions, especially. It's like absolutely insane. Nice. Okay, that's a good list of excerpts. I've never played Beethoven 5. That's kind of a crazy fact. It's been on a lot of orchestras. A second horn? Okay. Yeah, it's been on a lot of programs that I've played, but because I'm a fourth horn player, there are only two horn parts on Beethoven 5. So I haven't played it. I've listened to it. So I'm not going to be of any use for tips on that, but I can give you tips if are you interested for the other ones. Beethoven 7's a pretty brutal audition excerpt. I had a lot of trouble and still have a lot of trouble playing that excerpt on auditions, but I have played it and advanced at professional auditions. Or I've only played it at one professional audition, I think. And I advanced. So I do have tips, especially because I've struggled so much with it. Oh, it's second horn on Beethoven 7? Yes. I have played second horn on Beethoven 7 for many auditions, and I'm a big fan. The hardest thing about this, honestly, is rhythm. This dotted 8th, 16th, 8th. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Okay, wait, that was too low. Okay. Beethoven 7. I have a little trouble with intonation on this. And it's true that if you're finding that the articulations aren't super clear, just like we talked about on Mozart, then it's likely you have the same trouble that I have, which is to play in tune. And so I said at the beginning of this warm-up that my goal was going to be to play more notes in the center and play and use the same speed of air from the very start of a note to the very end. So if I'm practicing Beethoven 7 second horn, I'm going to make sure that I can find the centers of all my notes. Your high notes have less clear articulation. The good news is second horn, for this you can use trigger 2 for most of it. It sounds pretty good with when you're playing it as a duet on just trigger 2, but sometimes it sounds a little weird when you're playing by yourself on trigger 2. So I'm playing a little flat right now. So to find the center of a note, I'm going to do a bunch of balloon swells on it, get really loud and really soft, really loud, really soft over and over. And then I'm going to repeat articulation on that note. So bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. Yeah, I'm tending to fall a little bit flat by the end of it. So I'm going to need to play with like a little bit more of a brighter sound or aim just like 5 cents higher. Yeah, I know what's going on. If it's that my tongue in my mouth is going too far back. It's not staying far forward. So even in the low register, you want to keep a tongue position that isn't like pulling really far back in your mouth. You want to keep it as far forward as you can so you can stay super like nimble when you're playing repeat articulations. So for beep ba dum ba bum 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 ba dum ba dum beat, bum bum, bum 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 bum. It's supposed to have sort of a. I think if you practice this breath attack, you'll sound so good on it. I know it doesn't sound like the greatest thing in the world, but when you're playing with just breath attacks, it's sort of gonna like hone in and require the rest of your playing to just get a lot more accurate and precise. And so, one more time, I'm gonna try the opening breath attack. Okay, cool. Now, and if I try add the tongue back in. It's like you just get to add it onto a layer that's already working so much better now. Like now my support is working super well practicing it. It's like going to the gym and lifting like if your goal is to let's say for me, because I went to the gym today, my goal is if I'm doing leg press, or a squat, let's say if I'm trying to squat 100 pounds, I'm gonna want to practice going over 100 pounds. So it's like weight training. Practicing this exercise is going to make playing the excerpt so much easier. Okay, but breath attacking, it usually ends up in me playing pretty loud, and so that makes me tired. So 40 minutes in. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, Beethoven 7. I would do all the same 3 exercises. Yeah, definitely. Trike 5's fun. Mahler 1. I have a Mahler 1 recorded on my YouTube page. Yeah, nice. I don't think I've recorded Tchaikovsky 5 for it. Nice. That's super cool. Yeah, I guess I'll keep going on with the warm-up. What am I working on? I'm working on stuff above high C these days. Because there's an excerpt, Haydn 31, that I haven't been able to play with repeats ever. So I'm gonna do a couple of things above high C right now. It's a lot of back pressure. It always makes me really tired playing above high C. Like physically tired, not my face. One thing I'm noticing is that it's hard to keep the air super consistent. The airflow kind of can get choked off when your tongue has to get super high to play these high notes. All right, E flat is about the limit for the day, which is fine. I was working on Haydn 31 and phrasing in such a way that it'll save more of my face. So whenever you're playing stuff that I would describe as like chop busters, things that's like relentless with no rests as far as the eye can see and can go like either sits really high or goes extremely high, then it's a really good idea to find a way to like take breaks and do that and hide it well by musically phrasing. So for the first phrase of this Haydn 31, it gets really tiring playing the last like 5 notes of this. Because you're already at the end of a whole tank of air. So what's a way that we can make it a bit easier? Should I also practice this in the 3 ways that we had just talked about? So flutter tonguing, breath attacking, and chromatic exercises. Let's try it. It's really hard to flutter tongue in the extreme high register. Gonna need a break after that, okay? And then the next one is breath attack. Okay, and the last one is chromatically tracking the shape of the phrase. So the first is basically an octave chromatic. All right, so that's a long time to just like noodle around in the high register. I wonder if one of these days I'm just like gonna fall out of my chair, passed out. I find that when I'm like really practicing well, I end up sort of lightheaded because it usually means that I'm using my air well. Does that? I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but it usually means I'm using my air super well. So, anyways, now I'm gonna try playing it again and see if it got easier from those 3 exercises. Cool. I'm gonna listen to a recording because I am having trouble with the idea of how to phrase it. But that definitely helped. That worked really well. So Haydn 31 horn excerpt. The website I usually use is orchestraexcerpts.com. So it's not excerpt 1. Let's see if it's excerpt 2. Nope. Maybe it's excerpt 3. No. All right. There are only 5 excerpts, so here we go. This is okay. It must be excerpt 5. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so it seems like the way they're doing is they're not sustaining their notes. They're coming away from them all, and that's super smart. I think that's going to save more face. That was much improved. Okay, that's so much better than it's been. At least this is the first time that I think I was able to do hit both high C's, C sharps, in the first phrase, doing a repeated. So I think practicing it, fluttered breath attack was a total win. So I'm gonna keep trying that with each phrase of this when I practice it in the future. There are some things that I would do better for next time, like the repeated A's sounded out of tune before the high C sharp. And that's why I think the articulation got off. But cool. It's getting better. It's getting better. My recommendation for all of my horn players out there is to practice 2/3 of your practice sessions high and 1/3 low. Almost all of what I do professionally is low, and so almost all of what I practice at home is high. And that really helps me sort of balance out and not lose my high register. So, yeah. All right, I'm just gonna do a little low warm down, and then call it a day. If anyone has any questions or any excerpts they have questions about or pieces, feel free to ask it. But yeah, this is the last little bit here. End of the warm up. Well, I guess the warm up must have ended like 20 minutes ago when I started ripping Mozart 4. But take care, love. Yeah, good luck at your audition next month, and happy practicing. One last thing that I'll do in my warm down is I'm trying to make my pedal notes have a bit more pitch in the sound. It's really hard to tell. I'm just like practicing in my apartment, but it's really difficult to tell how your pedal notes are going to sound in a hall when you're in an audition, when you're practicing in a small room. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm playing in tune and then see if that helps. Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what I said was the mission of this warm-up, was to play all of my notes with the same airspeed from the very beginning of the note to the very end. It becomes really challenging to do that when you're in extreme registers, where you're playing at the very top of the range or at the very bottom. So one way you can make sure that it's super steady is by engaging a lot of support. And there are a bunch of exercises that I like to do that. And one of them is to flutter tongue. So I'm going to try doing some flutter tonguing in the pedal register. Oh man, that makes my nose like so itchy. A lot of exercises that have helped me most in my playing are ones that are not meant to sound good. They're not meant to impress your neighbors. They're actually more likely to get your neighbors to throw a brick through your window. But they are the ones that have really made a difference in my playing. So, yeah, chromatic. Wow, that sounds like I've like a gallon of water in my horn, but. Yeah, I feel like there's some fluctuating still happening. Maybe it's like I really gotta try engaging my sport even more. I'll try that one with the where you lift your legs up in the chair. Wow. Okay, that did help it. I'm gonna have to do that one again. And that is it. So warm up over. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I posted a new video on Instagram today. If you're interested, check it out. It's double tonguing. And yeah, take care, everybody.